I'm documenting a created life right now. I'm documenting a created life. What does that mean? What that means here is at this point in my life, there's a lot that's going on where I'm figuring out how to create what I want the world to be. So rather than accepting the status quo or saying that this is how things have to be because this is what it has been in the past, or these are the resources that are available for me, I'm actively living my life in a way of saying, of checking in with what the purpose is, what it is that I would love to have in it, what it is that I want and I desire, and then going forth and creating that. As this has gone on over the years, where I'm now stepping into something that goes beyond just myself. And I notice even just now in this conversation how much I'm using the word I. Uh, the feeling of I is now transforming into we, and the life that we are created. We have the World Joy Movement as a wonderful example of what it is that we are co-creating together, and being in the space of actively figuring out what it takes to create a world of joy. And what's happening here is that uh, the process of creating this is what is now being documented along the way as well. Documented through these videos, documented through posts, documented through stories that are being shared or audios that are being made, or just whatever way possible. We're looking to just go out and share what the journey is, or has been for us, as we are actually creating our world of joy, or where, however we're bringing an uplift in the world. I think this is a really interesting concept. I was really, part of me feels like this is how I've been rolling for a large part of my life. I'm first generation out of Ghana, West Africa, and a lot of the things that I encountered in life was, they were new for me. They were also new for my parents. It wasn't like we had gone through it, and there were generations worth of traditions and history, and even just like, connections within the country. So as the firstborn coming from the first generation, there's a lot of exploration, figuring out things on my own. And I recognize now that it's playing its part right now. It's playing its part in this movement. It's playing its part in how things are coming out to life. And what I've found is that there's two things, and this is actually one of the things that's been really like disconnecting for me. Like, when I say disconnected, I mean like keeps me from feeling connected to other people. It almost seems like a barrier to connection, and that's like when I go through life and something awesome happens, and I just want to like just regularly share that with someone. A lot of times I was reaching this barrier of, well, that's easy for you, or like I couldn't do that, or something like that, and it was causing a disconnect, because honestly, I felt like I was an ordinary person. And what's happening now that we're moving into the World Joy Movement, and we're bringing together a group of ordinary people who are all willing to answer the question, how do we create a world of joy? Right. And just let that be the guiding question here. Like, what's taken place is this ordinary group of people are becoming extraordinary together, and through their actions. And what I guess just through the experiences that I've had, what dawns on me is that at some point we may come back and try and remember 5, 10, 15 years from now, what it was like to be at the beginning of this process, what it was like to be right in the middle of this process, what it was like before, as our businesses were taking off, as our movements were taking off, as our impact, as our teams, as our organizations, so on and so forth. Being able to come back and kind of tie that all together in a nice little bow, is often the approach that is taking place, that people take. Instead, I'd like to flip that on its head and give us a chance to document what's happening in real time, to let you see how the story's evolving, and for us to be able to capture what it is that we're doing. And sometimes there'll be things that we do that make perfect sense and seem to give us great rewards right in the moment. And be other times that we share things or struggles that we're having that seem like we get stuck, and it doesn't actually seem like it's going to line up or add to anything at all, only for us to figure out a year later, that process of being stuck was exactly what we needed to go into where we are going forward. Those are the kinds of things that it's I realize that it's just much easier to document what's taken place as opposed to trying to come back and almost like create a linear path that never really existed. That never really existed. I'm finding as I talk to more people as we continue down here that true creation is similar to constellations than connecting the dots, right? It's like if we can picture each of the stars in the sky as its own little dot, and you think about the constellations that are associated with various elements of in the sky, you wouldn't really, you have to have a creative imagination to see, I don't know, like the crab that's out in the constellations. It's not like everything actually connects and creates that outline. We fill in the blanks. We fill in the blanks. And I think that in the process of documenting how we are continuing in our creative journey, that's going to help us see the constellation as it is, because there will be blanks. There will absolutely be blanks. And I love that we can come back and point to some of the places we've been on the journey, and also the emotional experience of being in the journey. I think that's where a lot of the blanks are. It's like, it's understanding the turmoil that we're in, the frustration, the excitement, the anticipation, all that. Like, it's so hard to capture that when people just try and say, well, what did you do to get here? A lot of times it wasn't just what we did, it was who we were being. Because we have always had the answers. We've always had what the next steps were. I've been creating videos for years, but I haven't been being a person who would just go and document the created life for a long time. That's a newer thing. And you'll be able to see that journey of what it's like to create videos, and then to also document your created life through videos. Totally different things. So that's what that just really feels like it needs to be shared right now. I'm curious what comes to you on this year, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Talk to you soon. It's the World Joy Movement. Yeah. What was your greatest insight from this conversation? And if you want to come and be a part of a conversation like this live, it's really simple. Just go to beworldjoy.com and come introduce yourself, and let's take the conversation to the next level, because you're there now. All right, let's play.